course, we welcome you and thank you for taking time to participate with us today. Look, it's always a privilege to have you available to share your wisdom, insight, knowledge. You've made such an incredible impact in Detroit Metropolitan community and quite frankly beyond. I think you're like one of the best kept jewels that we have here, and people are definitely going to be writing about you. So thank you for taking time out your schedule. And look, we're excited to have this interview, to platform to educate the entrepreneurial community about what's going on, what resources are available to them. We know that this pandemic has put many individuals in crisis mode right now. And so also we're going to definitely want to talk a little bit about that and the different resources are available. It just wouldn't be right if we didn't, right? Maximize the fact that we have you here as our guest. But I do want to start a little bit with your background. You can share your story for individuals who are not familiar with you, who may not have been exposed to the work you've done in the community. What is your professional background? What led you to establish QT Biz Solutions? What inspired you in the first place?
So I'm an ex-banker. I used to work at Chase and Fifth Third. I really just saw a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in underserved communities that needed business funding, but they were not able to get it, not because they didn't deserve it, but sometimes they didn't know how to put the paperwork together to actually apply and make a compelling argument to the bank that they deserve financing to fund their business. So I decided to actually just do it myself. I was still working at the bank. I actually had approval to do so. I just couldn't enter my own clients into the system. And then I noticed that once they got the proper technical assistance of putting their packages together, they got approved. So that's how I got into it.
Okay, so it sounds like you had a lot of frustrations. I'm from the banking industry as well, and you started seeing some of the deficits and how the bank could operate a lot better, and decided to step out, not necessarily on faith. You were already doing the work. You knew the need was there. I guess if you could kind of take individuals through the steps, right? Because you have individuals right now, especially because of the pandemic, they're at home and they're either unemployed or they're underemployed, or they're very much concerned about the fact that once the pandemic, at least once we open up for business again, right? Once the government opens up again, that those jobs they had previously may not be there, right? And so there's always going to be that consternation about making the transition from a W-2 to a 1099. Do you remember what that felt like and the steps that you took in order to ready yourself to make that transition?
Yeah, so I actually owned my business prior to leaving. I remember the date I left. It was December 21st, 2009 is the last time I ever worked at a W-2 job.
Oh, wow.
So,
Liberation Day.
yep, that was my liberation day. So I prepared. I wanted to um, get into the feel of being a business owner before I got there. Sometimes people don't have that, you know, um, they don't have that choice. Like right now, we don't have a choice. You either are going to be back at your job, or you're going to have to find another one, or you're going to have to open up a business. Those are the three choices that we have right now. Um, I think that if you can put together a team of people that know what you don't know, you're going to be successful. One of the things I found out is if you have something great, people are going to buy it. I mean, people buy pet rocks. So if you sell something, somebody's going to buy it. Now, how well you sell something and what type of value they get determines how long you're going to be in business. So I believe every entrepreneur is going to be successful. I mean, you have people that are dishonest that are successful at getting money. They're not going to stay in business very long. But if you sell something, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. That's one of the things I just want to tell entrepreneurs. Yes, it's scary, but you're gonna be okay. Somebody's gonna buy your services.
Now, you mentioned having a team, right? So obviously you had thrown off the yoke of if it's going to be done right, I got to do it all by myself. You realized that wasn't going to, you knew that wasn't going to necessarily work out if you're going to scale a business. When you talk about building a team, and I know everyone's business is different, but there are certain things every business needs too, right? When you talk about building a team, who are those team members, right? What do you do? What kind of advice, guidance, or even technical support were you looking for from team members around you?
So the first off, well, you know how I know you.
Yes.
You need a good legal team. That's the first. That's the first thing you need because your paperwork needs to be in order. Period. Now, most entrepreneurs can't afford to, pay a lawyer all this big old money, but I'm pretty sure they know what you do, and
Mm-hmm.
you're able to help them get their legal team, an expert legal team,
Mm-hmm.
together. So that's the first part of being an entrepreneur. You got to have a good legal team. Second part, you have to have a good accountant, and it's not Hookie and Ray Ray. Hookie and Ray Ray is not your accountant. CPA is your accountant, okay? So, so get, a good accountant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, get somebody to put together and sign up for a payroll service company, even if it's yourself. So when I went into business, I was me by myself, and I had a paid payroll service, and I paid myself, and that's so much easier because what people don't understand is when you're applying for a car or a house or whatever you're trying to apply for, if you don't have a W-2 or any type of income verification, it's going to be hard for you to get those things approved. So if you pay yourself, you don't even have to tell them that you're self-employed because you have a paycheck.
Yeah.
So sign up for that. That's what we got to get. The other thing you need, that I think is necessary, I've always had a live answering service. So, you know, get somebody to be able to help you answer the phones because, you don't want to be the one answering the phone all the time. So I'm just saying like a structure of what you components that would make a startup business operate very easily without having to worry about the technical things, because you can get in trouble if you don't pay taxes on salary that you pulled out. You're not gonna you're gonna the IRS is gonna get you. You're gonna get one of them letters one of those days. So might as well get it together and have it right as soon as you start up. You're not going to be able to outsmart the IRS, so just go ahead and do it right. Um, and that's, I know I'm rambling, but I think that was, if you have those things, you're going to, oh, marketing, pay somebody, guys. Don't play. Market, get you customers.
Fantastic. I love it. I'm going to lead you a little bit because I know there's one thing that you may not have thought of as we're kind of putting you on the spot here. How important is it to have a good banker?
Oh, well, that would be one of, yes, you have to know your banker. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know your banker, know what their capabilities are. If they have never gotten a business loan approved, it's probably not the one you want to go to get to apply for your business loan. Sometimes banking is just like any other job. Some people take it to heart and some people don't. How you walk into like a donut shop and the one person is like, how, oh, great, you want this donut, you want to try this donut, and you want to eat the whole donut place.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got this other one that's like, hey, and doesn't offer you any donuts. which, you know, one is doing a good job and one is not. So you have to pick who you have as a banker, and understand their capabilities and their willingness to help you, because they might not know all the programs. They might not have the bank has the programs, but they might not have taken the time to understand the underwriting criteria. Those are different things that the banker needs to know, because if they understand the underwriting criteria, and then they know who you are, then they can put you in the right program. Sometimes people get declined because the banker put them applied for the wrong loan, like it wasn't the program they should have been in, so they end up getting a decline when they could have actually got an approval from the same bank. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So talk us a little bit about, you're in business, you're serving the community, but you're still in that transition before you walked away from the JLB, so to speak, right? When did you know you weren't going back? When did you say, you know what, this is for me? I'm about this entrepreneurship life. Basically, when did you fall in love with entrepreneurship, and when did you realize I'm not going back?
I realized that I can change a life forever. So when I realized that I had the actual power to change a life forever and their entire line,
Mm.
I already knew that I could never, like at the bank, I did that at the bank too. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I did it with the bank's resources and things like that. But entrepreneurship, I literally just realized that I am able to actually change people forever, and I change them for the better. Even if they don't buy my services, I can still change them for the better in just one or two consultations. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew that. So that's my actual intent. That's actually what gets me up in the morning anyway. If I didn't have to charge for my services, I would actually, just do them, because I like it. But so that's that. Once I realized people will pay me to help me change them and make me feel good about it, then I was like, man, why would I go to a bank and then, have the manager say, go get on that teller line that you've never been on. Why would I do that?
I love it. I love it. Um, what are some of the, I guess, especially early on, right? What were some of the success stories that were most memorable, that served as kind of like confirmation that, you know what, I can do this, and quite frankly, this can be a lucrative, not just hustle, but a lucrative business opportunity for me. Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
So I have a few,
Mm-hmm.
but one I was mentioning to you earlier, Marisa Garcia at Tijuana's Mexican Kitchen.
Yes.
So we were able to get her a large loan to open up a third location for
Mm-hmm.
her, and she had a grand opening. So Tijuana's Mexican Kitchen is a Mexican restaurant, so obviously her family is Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
So she invited me and my husband, to the grand opening, and we were the only, darker people there. so
Only pepper in the room. Yes.
so everybody was looking like, who are those people, because it was only for her family. This was a pre-opening to the grand opening, and she
Yep.
got on the stage and she was kind of telling a story about how she got this spot open, and she started crying, and she started making me cry, and she says, this lady, and she pointed to me and my husband, is the reason this place is actually open. And she couldn't get through the speech, and I remember just like crying, like, oh my God, this I really helped her change her life. And she said everybody had turned her down and she wasn't going to be able to get this third place open. And I was the one that helped her. So if when I realize what actually gets me up in the morning, it wasn't that she paid me, because she paid me very well. She paid me on time and gave me, but it was the fact that I got to go to the grand opening and I got to see her dream actually happen. She said she didn't even believe it was happening until the signs went up, because
I love
the
it.
loan was approved and everything, and then everything was already approved, but she was like, bracing for the hard impact of it wasn't going to happen until the signs went up. And then that's when she knew that her dream had happened. So that was one. I know that was a long time. I don't know if I got a few. I got a lot of them. Oh, well, I'll tell you one more that was recent. Dawn Sanford, Shears and Shaves on Avenue of Fashion. The mayor was actually at her grand opening, and I was at her grand opening. She's opened a spa on one side, a man spa on one side, and a female spa on the other side. Beautiful shoe shine. You got haircut. You got everything on one side. She's a master barber, and she was my client, and she actually just she's been booth renting for 30 years, and
Oh,
she's
wow.
always 30 years. She always wanted to open up her own place, and when she came, she paid for a startup class, so we were just actually just designing and designing her future. And it's funny how designing your future, what it actually does, it
Hmm.
designs your future. So we actually dreamed it. I mean, we literally put it together, and lo and behold, a year later, Motor City Match opens up, and I didn't even know about Motor City Match. She submitted the business plan to Motor City Match and won. And so that's actually how I got involved with Motor City Match, was through Dawn Sanford. So she submit her business plan that we had already written to Motor City Match. It got funded. She ended up getting over $381,000, and she is a barber, a booth renter. Her revenues, didn't match the $381,000,
Hmm.
startup fee, but they believed in her so much in her business plan that they funded the entire build out and opening of her salon that actually opened last year. So it's
Wow, that is incredible. That's incredible. Congratulations. Big
Thank
deal.
you.
Yeah, that is. I'm like, I'm grinning from ear to ear. Like, as soon as you told me 381,000, I was like, barber, 381,000. How does that happen? That's incredible. I love
It's
it.
a beautiful state of the art. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it. Um, so of course we have the success stories. We always like to talk about those. um, what are some of the toughest lessons that you've had to learn? You know, where are the times where you may have felt defeated or questioned the path, right? So often, I'm sure many of our audience have thought this themselves, or and those who may not be fortunate enough to hear this information live. But I know you look at the Instagram videos, you look at the Facebook videos, you see the testimonies on television, right, during news interviews, and the individuals have on their best face, their best clothes, their best everything, and people like to act like they've never had an ugly duckling stage, like they didn't have any trials and tribulations, right?
Right, right,
Um, well, we don't do that here. We
right,
want people to know the real, right? I think it best serves individuals when they know there's going to be challenges.
right.
Um, what are some of the biggest mistakes or challenges that you've had to overcome personally in your business, right? What are those tough lessons? Where are those times where once again you were like, I don't know.
Well, I had a major one happen. My husband broke both his arms
Oh
at the
wow.
same time. So he was off of work in two slings and casts for, well, not cast, but he fractured both arms. Tendons had to be replaced and reattached at the same time. And being self-employed, you learn that, if your husband can't eat, you have to be there so he can get food,
Yeah.
so I wasn't available, and so my revenues took major hits during that time. I was still able to help entrepreneurs, but you learn that you cannot do your business by yourself if you're going to be successful. I learned that the hard way. If you're the person that has to be there, it doesn't matter if you have an assistant or virtual, answering service. If you have to be there and something happens to you, you're going to lose revenues. So that caused a snowball effect. The other thing I learned was, being a banker, I was able to get a lot of cash. I'm just an expert at getting things approved. So I had over $1 million of, you don't even realize you can get that much credit because you just keep getting it. They're like, oh yeah, here's some more money. So I learned also to, you need to hire the right people, because just because you have a line of credit, you can't, and if you're paying employees and they're not producing, you have the money to pay them, but they're not doing something that causes you to create revenue. So if they're not doing something, you're still paying them. You're doing your part. But if you haven't learned what their part is, they're not doing it, if you don't have that in place, you're just going to be spending money. And then it's gonna be gone, and you're gonna still be owing it to the bank. If it's a line of credit, you're gonna be owing it. So why I tell my entrepreneurs, if we don't have to borrow, we shouldn't borrow. We should find a person, hire them, see if they're creating value for your business, as if within cash coming into your business or cash staying in your business. Always have each of your employees, that is responsible for the cash. That way, if they're effective or not. If they're not bringing in cash or helping you retain cash, we probably don't need that person. But as I mentioned, when I was out and I had the wrong people, I borrowed all this money. I did have to go through a bankruptcy. $1 million in that, and that was like, that was huge. That
Yeah.
was a lot of money, and I didn't even realize it had gotten up to that dollar amount. And I went through that bankruptcy, and to let you know, you can come back from a bankruptcy, because right after that, I got me some more loans. But then I was more, I'm like, oh, I'm not spending that money, or people like, you want a credit card? Nope, sure don't want it. So before I was like, yeah, I am an advocate of other people's money, but now I only spend other people's money if I know I'm going to create a return on investment.
Okay. All right. And that kind of leads into the next question that I've been ideating and thinking about as I've been listening to you. Because obviously, I mean, you're helping people plan their business. You're helping them basically reverse engineer their lives in many respects, right? And so I know you're able to anticipate and see a lot of these mistakes firsthand when new business owners are starting out. What are some of the common or the most problematic or costly mistakes that you see happen frequently when individuals are launching a new business?
Okay. So they always want to do everything themselves and not pay for services. Guys, pay for services, please.
Well, Shirley, can we get an amen?
Yeah, seriously. Yes. I'm going to let you keep elaborating. I'm not going to go on my tangent. I'm going to let you go on your tangent about it.
I'm just going to give you a hint. Pay for some services, because you're going to do it worse. You're going to do it horrible. It's not going to be good. And it's going to cost you more money than if you would have just budgeted for the expert and then got it done. What I realize is a lot of my clients don't even realize how easy they have it. They just think business is easy. They just think it is, because at first they're like, well, do I want to pay for this ADP? yep, you about to pay for this ADP. And I signed them up for it. And so then now they're like, oh yeah, so I'm like, okay, I need your payroll report so I can apply for this loan. Oh yeah, I got it. Do. They get on there 5 seconds. I have the paperwork. When you got the other people that didn't start that way, I don't have a P&L. What's a P&L? Can you apply for a loan without a P&L? Nope, sure can't. So and then you have to try to put one together after you don't even have the document. You didn't even know what to get together, and so all these documents are all over the place. You don't know how much you spent. You paid people under the table. Like, you can't prove that you had payroll if you paid them under the table with no receipts. And so pay for services.
Fair enough. You hear that? People pay for the services. This is going to happen a lot too because of what's transparent, right? Everyone now wants to start up a home-based business. Everybody wants to offer their expertise, even though they've never been 1099s. They're W-2s, been all their lives. They watched one YouTube video, read half of a book, and now they're entrepreneur and they're advising and they're consulting, right? We know it happens all day, every day. And I know in particular, it happens quite a bit in your industry, right? When it comes to business planning and helping individuals secure capital and whatnot. And because of that, I know there's a lot of misconceptions that are out there. For me, it's particularly annoying. Actually, it angers me, particularly during times like this where I know business owners need the help more than ever. They can ill afford to make errors in judgment in terms of how they spend their time and how they spend their money for the type of services that you provide, right? What are some of the biggest, I guess, misconceptions you'd like to clear up about the business planning industry and the nature of the work that you do to help individuals, quite frankly, have a better or more effective or a discerning eye when they're sitting down in front of someone and trying to ascertain whether or not that person can help them out? What are some of the misconceptions? What are some of the things you like to clear out? Would you want to equip our audience? What tools do you want them to have available so when they're having those conversations and talking to people, they can better understand whether or not this person can really benefit or help them?
So what I found in my industry is a lot of people say things. I do things. Most of the people don't need you to say, hey, you should go to the SBA website and learn about the Paycheck Protection Program. They need you to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, not say do it, because that's what they want to, sometimes they want to, I don't know, sound smart or I don't know, but I'm just saying in this time, you want to look for people that are going to help you do things and get results. We want results. If their intent is just to give you a coaching session that could coach you, I like coaching, but I need you to coach me and do it sometimes. Like, sometimes I don't even want you. If you know what you're talking about, you doing it. And how much money is it gonna cost? So that's me. And you know that about me, Miss Buesler, because I'm like, oh, Miss Buesler, can you help me on this? Yep, you got it. So I would want you to look for people that can help you do things and complete things so that it is complete and submitted and complete.
Yeah.
So actual results of submitting and getting approved. Submitting. If you can't submit it, you can't get approved. You have to do it. So let's do it.
I like it. What other misconceptions do you think people have about the industry, though, as a result of some of the misbehavior that takes place?
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people that say they can do things and they actually pay for the things and then they don't get it. And so you have people saying, well, no, everybody, might do that. And so the misconception is that they're, charlatans or people that, in our industry, they're just trying to take your money, loan brokers or things like that. There's a way to discern, though. I mean, if you can look at if the person has reviews, people are honest. They're gonna tell you what happened. So if the person has really great reviews, ask for references. Also, if somebody referred you and they know firsthand, you know trust them, and if they know firsthand, make sure that you take the advice and trust them. So I would say take referrals from people that have actually went through a process, or ask for references, because there are so many out there that can't do it, or are not doing what is necessary to get you to the end and complete.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know a lot of individuals have this ideal that they're going to approach a professional like yourself. They're going to cut a check. They're going to disappear for the next 2 to 6 months. And then voila, the money's going to fall from the sky like manna.
No.
I know that misconception is out there.
No, this is your business. You're going to be involved with it. I mean, now, if I'm more involved with you getting it, most of the time I'm equal, because you don't know what you don't know, and I do know the lenders. So most of the time the lender is contacting me because they know that my client may not know the banker lingo. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to be involved in creating that business plan with me. You're going to show up to the banker meetings. Don't blow off the banker meeting. Don't do that. That's happened. Don't go to the banker and say, I don't know what's in my business plan. Definitely don't do that. That's happened. So I've had to fix a couple of things, but you have to, we can get the business plan together. You have to talk to the lender. They're going to talk to me, but they want to understand that you're going to be the one running it. So they want to understand, are you going to be able to do it? Do you actually know how you're going to create these revenues? Here's the thing, the banker knows in your industry, they probably have already funded your industry hundreds of times. They already know what it takes for you to get money. If it's hard for you in your industry to get money, they'll know that already. So it's going to be on one of their list of, prohibited or restricted industries, because they already know, this is going to be, a harder person for you to get revenues. If they know you're a cash cow, if, car washes are cash cows, sometimes they're falling over. Which lender want to hurry up and give you the money, because they want to be able to be the one that actually, receive the revenues. Car washes, you open one, somebody's going to wash their car there. so, if it's a cash cow business, it'll be easier for you to get money. No, regardless. I mean, you can even mess up on the interview sometimes, but they want to know if you can actually run this business. If it's a harder industry, they need to know that you're the person that can actually pull it off. And so, I think I'm rambling and I forgot the question. So,
no, it's okay. You answered it. What's keeping you motivated? I mean, you've been in business now you've been doing this over a decade.
Yeah. Actually, I went into business in 2000. So 2 decades.
Wow. Time flies, doesn't it? I mean, it really does fly. Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself. I'm like, I went full time 2009, but I owned it since 2000. Yeah. So
wow. Okay. So where are you finding inspiration? What keeps you motivated now?
So I think I said it a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
I can change a life and a line forever. I went and at my death, I will be able to say that I fed millions of babies through. I created millions of jobs. I fed millions of babies because of those jobs, and I changed lives forever. So, when you open a business, you're never going to be the same ever again, ever. So,
Mm,
um, you're when you open a business, you're probably going to feed somebody else's baby, and you're going to be the only way that that child can eat, unless they get, they get another job, but you're the one feeding their baby. So, you know, I will have created thousands of businesses, and and I will have created thousands of legacies. And that will be my legacy, even if they don't know my name.
I love it. I love it. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's an amazing answer. Yeah.
So we need to switch gears, of course, right, and talk about this pandemic and what's transpiring in the lives of entrepreneurs. But I also, you've had to pivot. I know you've had to make some different decisions in terms of your daily operations, or maybe even in terms of your thinking. You
Yes,
know, you
this is
know,
different.
yes. What are, I guess, some of the ways that you've had to pivot and where you've been successful contending with the pandemic, where you're like, business owners, these are some business practices that could be helpful for you, right?
Right. Yes. So, luckily, I've always had out of state clients. I can deal United States for the funding that I do. So I have regularly serviced out of state clients, and I've always used Zoom and GoToMeeting for years, even, to deliver my services to those clients that cannot actually walk into the office. Also, all of my systems are log in from anywhere. So, email, we can log in from anywhere. Our database that we use, our CRM that we use, and that's important, a CRM, client relationship management application, that we use. You can log in from anywhere and service the client, see what they needed or where they are in the process. We use a base camp. We use that as a project management to make sure each client got everything that we promised them plus more. So we have that actually as, we promise them this, but then we actually have two or three things that we do on top of that to ensure that we have over delivered. So having those online applications have made it easy for us to just go home and do it. I've always had a live answering service. So most of the time, people, even if we're not in the office for years, they just thought we were still in the office. That's my live answering service,
Hmm.
that's answering. So the live answering service is still answering, and then my assistant is just calling everybody back from her house, and booking appointments and things like that. So being extremely mobile, I mean, everything. I mean, my QuickBooks Online is online. It's not on my computer at the office that I would not have been able to access to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, unless I wanted to walk out into the war zone and possibly get the virus. That my QuickBooks Online is online. My paychecks are direct deposit, so I have ADP. So I still ran my payroll as usual. Um, so everything being online has made it easy for me to transition home and basically still continue to service my clients.
Yes. Now, I know that you have created a lot of goodwill in the community, right? So referrals are a very important piece of your business. But as I was thinking about this interview, I remember maybe, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I think it was maybe 2, 3 years ago where you really started focusing your attention on having an online presence and
Yes.
and putting digital tools to work in terms of promoting your business and creating awareness. How important is that?
That's really important. I remember boycotting. I didn't have a Facebook account. Like I didn't have Facebook. I think I got Facebook probably 2011. I don't know. I didn't get it when it first came.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm not getting on that social media. And I end up getting on Facebook because I had to learn how to advertise on social media. And then, then I realized, man, there's a lot of people that need your help because they're literally just going to give you their name and number and ask you to call them and ask you to help them. So that online marketing is extremely important to get other people that don't know about you, don't know anything about your services to call. Also making sure that your Google profile is working and is optimized, because people are searching for specific keywords and they're not going to know your name. They're going to know what they're looking for. So you need to be able to understand that and then make sure that your business pops up if they're looking for what you sell. And that, yeah, online is really exploded for us because we regularly do paid Facebook ads. We regularly do YouTube things, and people are contacting us through those mediums.
I love it. Okay. Um, so I'm on these conference calls. I'm receiving at least 10 emails a day about a million different funding program opportunity. Contact this bank, contact this organization, contact me. And, I just get the feeling that as a person is fairly astute when it comes to the industry, I'm no expert. Glad you're here today. But I know if I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed and tired of it, I know these business owners have to be losing their minds right now, right? Because they're being inundated with all this information. They don't know who to turn to. They don't know what program is for them, what they qualify for, how to fill out paperwork, all this fun stuff, right? And I know this is your area of expertise. It's part of the reason why Shelly and I wanted you on this interview as soon as possible. So thank you for accommodating. Please, share your wisdom in terms of how business owners should be going about the process of seeking help, what resources are available to them. And of course, by all means, share how you've been helping business owners navigate these tough waters right now.
Okay. So I would like to actually be able to share my screen. If there's basically two main programs you need to be aware of: the Paycheck Protection Program and the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on. I'm going to pull up. Actually, because let's cut out the noise. We're just going to go right to the SBA website here.
I love it.
All right, and then we're gonna just go through what they are doing right now. So this is the SBA Coronavirus COVID Disaster Assistance Response, right? So if your business has been affected due to, or you've had an economic injury, due to the coronavirus, you're going to be able to apply for the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Okay. So now you can get up to $2 million on this. It is a 3.75 for small businesses interest rate and a 2.75 for nonprofits, because nonprofits may also apply for this. You can take up to a maximum of 30 years to pay it back. And they just depend, it's based on each borrower's ability to repay, that will determine the length. But I do also want to tell you that the first $10,000 of the economic injury disaster advance loan, I'll read this. The advance loan will provide economic relief to businesses that are currently experiencing a temporary loss of revenue. Funds will be made available within 3 days of a successful application. This loan will not have to be repaid. So the first $10,000 of this economic injury disaster loan does not have to be repaid. So that
Wow.
is one of the programs that you would apply for. And I will show you the actual application here. All right, so if you are an sole proprietor, so you may also apply for this if you are a sole proprietor. Let me pull this onto the screen here. This is the application for a sole proprietor, right? Click that off there. And there's an application for anybody else outside of a sole proprietor. Even if you're a sole member LLC, this is the application you will fill out, okay? So sole proprietors and independent contractors, the first application. So that is pretty much it on that program. We're also going to check out the Paycheck Protection Program. So that way, you guys, if you're getting inundated, just go to the SBA website and you can see things there, right? Paycheck Protection Program, all right? This loan is for people that need money to pay their payroll. Now, I do want to point out that 100% of this loan is forgivable as long as you see SBA will forgive loans if all employees are kept on the payroll for 8 weeks and the money is used for payroll, rent, mortgage, interest, and utilities. The max on this loan is $10 million. So let me say that again. Max is $10 million. And they will forgive up to 100% of it as long as you pay for payroll within the next 8 weeks that you get it. Now, let's say you don't pay for it within the next 8 weeks. Let's get over here. Let me go to this fact sheet. Okay. All right. So in this Paycheck Protection Program, there's $349 billion in forgivable loans available. The proceeds are used to cover payroll costs and most mortgage interest and utility costs over the 8-week period after the loan is made, capped at $100,000 annualized for each employee. When you can apply, April 3rd, which was yesterday, small businesses and sole proprietors can apply for and receive loans to cover their payroll and certain expenses through existing SBA lenders. On April 10th, independent contractors and self-employed individuals can apply and receive loans. And then through existing SBA lenders, and then other regulated lenders like credit unions and things will be announced as soon as they're able to lend. So as of right now, if you are not banking with an SBA approved lender, you need to find one that is doing them, because and you might switch your accounts to their bank. Now, what else I'm going to go through some important parts here. What can I use loans for? Payroll cost, interest and mortgage if you had it before February 15, 2020. Rent if your agreement was in place before February 15, 2020. And utilities if you had them on before February 15, 2020. Cap wages at 100,000. How large can your loan be? Your loan can be up to 2 months of your average monthly payroll costs from the last year plus an additional 25%. Actually, that's actually went up to an additional half of your payroll. So 2.5 times your average monthly payroll is what your max loan can be at a cap of $10 million. All right. Will this loan be forgiven? Yes. But you will owe money when your loan is due if you use the amount of money for anything other than payroll, mortgage, rent, utilities, or you didn't use the money within 8 weeks after you got the loan. So use it within 8 weeks and only use it for those purposes. That's why you can have both the EIDL loan and the Paycheck Protection Program loan. How do you get forgiveness? It is not automatic that your loan is going to be forgiven. Once you finish the 8 weeks, you're going to have to request that it be forgiven, and you must certify that you paid for mortgage, rent, payroll, and utility within the 8 weeks that you had the money. Now, this is actually changed. It was a fixed rate of 0.5%, but now it's a fixed rate of 1%. All payments are deferred for 6 months. Okay. If you owe it, you won't have to start paying for 6 months, and you got to finish paying it in 2 years if you did not use the money for what they said you did within the time frame that they wanted you to spend it, which was that 8 weeks. There is no collateral required and no personal guarantee. So there's no minimum credit requirement. Now, of course, if you get this funds fraudulently, there's going to be some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to the actual application for the Paycheck Protection Program. Right. This is the application. Yeah. Okay. And you have to turn in, some other paperwork to the bank, that they want you to kind of put together. And you also will have to have a month-by-month breakdown of your payroll for 2019 and your year-to-date interim financial statements for 2020. And that is pretty much it, the program.
So, Ms. Williams, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
So this is a question, and you answered it earlier, but I want to make sure our listening audience is very clear on this, right? Because you're going to have a lot of business owners that may have started up in the last 6 months, right? Maybe even over the last 4 months. And I want to make sure it's clarified, right? So they may not have tax returns from previous tax year. Obviously, they just got started. Mm-hmm. But this is why having some type of service like ADP or having some type of bookkeeping systems in place so you can show financials for this year and still be eligible for some of these monies. Yes?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. It even says it on here. If I can find it. Basically it says if you weren't in business for a full year, you're just going to look at what your average payroll were the months that you were open before the accident or before the declaration of the emergency on January 31st. So they're saying, and you saw there, that there was a February 15th cutoff that they're using. Here, let me go back. Paycheck Protection Program. Oops, sorry. Trying to get you the overview here. All right, here we go. So if you were, there actually had answered it in this question here. Mm-hmm. this little loan forgiveness. It's in here. But anyway, you can be a startup. You just have to be able to prove that you had payroll. So if you had payroll and you paid payroll and you paid other people than yourself, now you can pay yourself too, but
Right.
if you have payroll and can prove that you had payroll, then you will be eligible to apply for this. Because here's the thing, they don't want those people to apply for unemployment. They want you to keep them. They want the unemployment rate to go down. That's why the loan is forgivable, because they're like, okay, well, an employer probably will not want to take a loan out to pay for people that can't do work right now. That's the reality. If I have to take out a loan to pay for people that can't do work that I have to pay back, I'm probably going to be all right with letting them apply for unemployment. But if I can get money and pay them, pay myself, pay them, and not have to pay it back, I'm probably going to keep them. And then once the economy opens back up, they don't have to be looking for another job. They can still be at my spot, and then we'll just go back to business as usual. So that's why they put this together. There is no collateral necessary. They don't even have a personal guarantee. They want everyone that has paid someone to keep them and pay them some more. Because they still have to pay their bills. Everybody, if you think about it, if you don't pay your mortgage, the mortgage company is going out of business. If you don't pay your credit cards, the credit card company is going out of business. So they still, even if they're not working, they still need to pay, their things. If these businesses that cannot go to their office can't pay for rent, then the building owner, landlord, is going to go out of business. So everybody needs to still pay, even though no one's working. So that's why it's forgivable.
I love it. So in closing, 2 questions, right? You said something that caught my attention about things going back to normal. But things really aren't going to ever completely go back to normal ever again after this. Not completely, right? There are some things that are going to have changed indefinitely moving forward. That being said, what do you believe is, number one, the most important lesson business owners should take from this crisis? Things that maybe they weren't doing before that, look, you just don't have a choice. You need to do this. Look, if you don't, in business, we're not talking about right and wrong here. We're just talking about consequences, right? The consequences are going to be dire if you don't start doing these things. That's number one. And then number two, just for entrepreneurs in general, right? What is the number one piece of advice you would dispense for someone who's listening to this and they're feeling motivated after listening to your interview and they're saying, you know what, I think I'm going to go out here, step on faith, and make it happen for myself and my family and create a legacy and all the wonderful stuff that comes with entrepreneurship, right? So 2 questions. What are the things that business owners, a lesson you want them to have taken from this? And then what's a lesson that you feel like every entrepreneur should keep in their back pocket, particularly if they're launching in this environment?
So I would say after this, be mobile. Be mobile if you can do it. I mean, I know restaurants, you can't really be mobile if you're a sit down restaurant, but I think a lot of restaurants learn that DoorDash works, so they get on those platforms that will allow them to be mobile. So just be mobile, learn technology, don't be the one that doesn't understand how to do it, because then you become expendable. If you can't help your here's the thing, if you were helping your manager or boss or your business, whoever you're working with sales, and you don't know how to get on Zoom, they can't trust you to get on Zoom to take care of their clients. So if you're not able to learn the technology, you could become, expendable. So learn technology. That's the first lesson. um, be the first one to learn something new. And then the second thing is, I would say, you can do it. I mean, this is the biggest economic stimulus package that has ever happened in the history of the United States. So there's going to be a lot of money. Right now, they're dealing with existing business owners, but right after that, there's going to be a big old fat boom for startup businesses, because they realized that a lot of people did lose their jobs because of this, and there's going to be a lot of money for that. So get ready, do something that can change somebody, that and do something. You have something that everybody in your family comes to you for, and you can't get away from them because they want you to do it.
Yeah.
That's probably what you should charge for. So that's how you kind of figure out, where's your calling, what should you do when you go into business.
I love it. I love it. Rochelle, do you have any closing remarks or questions? I know I've pretty much facilitated almost the entirety of this. Do you have anything you want to share, or something we haven't covered yet?
No, I think this was just so important, especially all of the stuff you showed at the end of really like, these are your options, this is how you go about it. But then also just speaking to what I really hope people take away from this is going back to your very early point of hire people who know what they're doing. People like you. Do not try and navigate this alone. If you don't understand, and if you don't understand how to do these things, don't just float out here and be like, oh, well, I guess it's just not going to happen for me. No, hire people like yourself that can absolutely help you navigate this and do it right, and do it. And just, so I think that this whole interview was just so great in the terms of everything you're able to educate and show, but then to really drive that point home that we don't need to, you can be an employee of one, but that doesn't mean you're doing this on your own. So I really appreciate you taking the time to emphasize that. It's not emphasized enough, for sure.
I have one more thing too. I heard a couple of people say, well, I might not qualify for it, so I'm not going to apply for it. Are you serious?
Right.
Do not listen to Cousin Pookie, y'all. Yeah, I will get you. I will get you myself if you do not apply for this free money. Apply. Let the lender tell you no. Let the lender say no to you. All they're going to say is yes or no. And generally, if they say no, they'll tell you why, and then you can apply again and get it. So do not listen to Cousin Pookie. Apply for this money.
Oh, that's terrible, but it's so true. It's so true. My goodness. Thank you so very much. Thank you for your time, Ms. Woods. We really appreciate it. As always, you bring the truth.